Hey there, lovely people. I hope you're well. So I've got a real calling to share, to do a video, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, which is interesting. And I have got so much whirling around me right now, and it could well be to do with all the energies that we're experiencing, and the full moon that was yesterday, and what that does in terms of our emotions and stirs things up and brings things to the surface. And I've been doing a lot of work, been probably over a year now, of transformational work, which is really looking into your shadows and your shite, basically. And it's sometimes we know it's there, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we get an inkling, but don't give ourselves that time to look into it. And I'd like to share with you, I've been, for this my year, there's trauma through my childhood that there was little snippets, but I didn't really remember any of it. And basically, my general pattern was to try and forget about it, believe it's not true, hide it. And that kind of came out on a day-to-day basis of just being busy, extremely busy, just rushing from one thing to the next. The guilt of sitting down on my arse and not liking it, this restlessness, always wanting to get up and do something and moving, etc., etc. The fear of not doing enough, the fear of not being enough or doing enough or just not being enough. And that has run through my life for as long as I can really consciously be aware of. And just this rushing. In fact, I was born pretty damn quick. I just came rushing out. So there's going to be an impatience nature of myself. So where am I going with this? We shall see. But it's basically a sharing of, we can have some real old shitty patterns that really do not serve our joy. And me being the busy, kind of running away from my subconscious, that something was scary up there, but if I was quick and fast and I ran quicker, it wouldn't catch me up. But it does. And it can come through in your health. It can come, well, pretty much everything will come up through your body and your health if you don't really listen to it. If you don't give yourself that time and that space to recognize old patterns that aren't serving you joy. And my pattern of being busy basically knackered me out. It knackered my kidneys and it's knackered my adrenals. And doing lots of work with myself and intuitively connecting to myself. This is the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. It's the emotional brain, the limbic system, reacting to your endocrine system, and then your adrenals, which is actually the functioning of the body. And this has created fatigue, kidney issues, bladder issues, hair loss, and it's all sort of really come through into the last year. And actually COVID seems to have been the indicator, the inflammatory marker, or showing me where my issues were, where my inflammation of my body is. And inflammation, basically heat, is all comes back to disease and dis-ease in your mind, emotions, pain, inflammation, arthritis, anything is all about this heat and inflammation that's in the body, where the body has become imbalanced. And I'm guessing the share for this is really to start to really recognize your old patterns that really aren't serving you anymore. And sometimes we're just not conscious of it. So you've got to kind of sit now and start to do some deep self-reflection. If you get pain, if you're ill, start to really ask those big questions. Don't fear your shadows, because I've been running through my shadows for my life, and it's created a huge amount of stress in my body. And it was all I can imagine say to you. It's like you're running from a black cloud, trying to get ahead of it, so the storm can't shit on you and rain on you. but you're always running away from it, and you never will ever get rid of it until you literally look up and face it. And actually I did some work, and I've sat in it, and I've been in it, felt the emotion with that, but it's not as scary as you think it is. It's not going to happen to you again. Whatever it is that you may be carrying or trying to avoid, don't. Sit with it, be with it. It could be your inner child, it could be parts of you that need to be heard and need to be listened. And the more you ignore it, the more you'll keep coming up against the barriers, the resistance, the blocks, the ill health, the mental health, relationship issues, the constant cycle. We are literally coming into this massive energetic cycle of breaking our old patterns. And that is individually and collectively. We are shifting. We are actually at this pinnacle point of choice of as to what we choose to do. Do we continue this cycle that doesn't serve us joy or purpose? Or do we decide with awareness to make more conscious choices of change? And choice is our power. And when we think we don't have a choice, it's because we're sitting in fear somewhere. We always have a choice. We're not a victim, we have choices. And that is your power. And when you recognize that you have choices, you have power. You give yourself back your power, your magic, and who you really are, and your fire. And an element of that, or a huge element of that, is actually speaking your truth. That is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. And the gift of truth is just simply being able to look within and hold that space for yourself, to hold that platform and space for your inner child to speak with you, to tell you what they need, rather than running away or allowing the inner child to keep on triggering you to kind of keep reacting in your adult self, which then creates these patterns and this knotweed in your brain of like constant trigger reaction and perception. It's all BS. It's all rubbish. And it doesn't bring any joy to your life. So I guess from here it's about stillness. It's about creating space for yourself to listen, to acknowledge that something needs to change, and that actually you have a choice of getting off this wheel, of this karmic wheel, of what we're seeing in ourselves. And like I say, in the collective, we're seeing huge amounts of stuff happening, really old systems that aren't serving us anymore. And we are seeing injustice far more than has ever been seen in this platform. Old archaic ways of being that really no longer serve us, that we see the greed, the corruption for what it is. And it's always been that. It's always been in humanity for so long. So it's intrinsic. It's been there. But it's coming up to the surface. And this is the rising feminine energy that people are talking about. Is this hidden aspect of ourselves, male or female, is coming up. And we have a choice of how we work with this. Do we block it and create a massive frigging volcano? Or do we allow it to come through and start to unlayer, unpeel, release, allow yourself to do it in a more graceful way? And it's not pleasant, it's not great, but if you're releasing the valve, the pressure, letting it flow through you, you have it in a much more graceful way, and much more ease for the body. And you do that again through choice, through awareness of yourself. So I'd say take some time for you, take some stillness. I've had like the most beautiful few hours just doing diddly squat, lying on the sofa, would cuddle up with my beautiful son, with him sleeping, watching telly. And it's been the most magical time for me to actually be still and not give myself a job to do, and be comfortable in that and not feel guilty about that either. And to enjoy that moment, that special moment. And I've come outside now and it's beautiful. I don't know if it's me, but it just feels like a real fresh energy coming up. There's this real potential, there's this real hope, there's this massive energy of change coming through, and it's change for the good. It's changing from the heart, and there's a lot of heart consciousness going on. And people are seeing things in themselves or in society that isn't serving. And it's actually having hope. And it's actually communicating what is not feeling right for you. And that's your truth and your expression. So when people start voicing and expressing things, other people are listening to that when you come from your heart. If you express from fear, nobody listens. But if you come from a space of your heart consciousness, that actually you want something greater for other people, people will listen. And I think the first thing we need to do is listen to ourselves. Listen to what we desire, what we need, and provide that for ourselves. Because when we change our vibration, we change the whole world's vibration. And here's my pooch. She comes. She wants to be part of the story. But it's about just, if we want to make a change in this world, we make the changes with ourselves. Here she is. Here's the dog. And yeah, it's quite a random download, really. So, but it was just this real pressure to kind of, not pressure, wrong thing, urge to sit down and share something. And I think the message here really is take stock, take time for you, find the right person for you to help you process your shite that you might be carrying that's blocking you from joy. And that could be guilt, it could be shame, it could be grief, it could be anger. Shitloads of anger. Christ, it's liver time right now, and it is like boom. That's where the anger and betrayal, which is the back of the heart. Which is, if you're having anxiety issues right now, heart palpitations, all this sort of stuff, I reckon there's some deep anger shite going on there that's triggering your heart right now. And it's about allowing that to process, because we're kind of, like I say, it's liver time, but we're processing coming into heart time as well. So it's about really allowing what's coming up from your heart, to allow your heart to air yourself. And when anger is processed, underneath that is love. It's love to say, I deserve better, I'm worthy of so much more. And that anger is healing, it's therapeutic if you allow it to channel through yourself. Anger acted out to others outwardly is actually fear. So it's about that inward anger. Allow it to process, let it come out, let the emotions, let that burn of love for yourself to come through. That burn of love and that passion to want things to change, to want better in society, whatever it is that's coming through you, let that process through you. And don't let it hold it down. Let it air, breathe it, give it space. And that could be journaling, it could be talking to somebody, it could be meditating, whatever it needs to be done, do it. It could be getting a treatment from myself or whoever that just gives you that space to help you process and move things through. So yeah, I think that's probably enough for today. But like I say, just give yourself space and honor yourself, honor your truth, and let things flow. And set the intention of how you wish to feel and be, because that is the big shift, setting the emotional intention of how you wish to feel. And that enables you to start to releasing that is blocking that joy, that is blocking that love, and blocking that inner peace. Because ultimately, that's all we're seeking. We just get distracted by what we think will give us that. But ultimately, we want love, joy, and peace. And this is what, well, I believe most of us want in this world too. This fairness to come through, is liberation of ourselves. So lots of love, and enjoy a beautiful, just a beautiful energy of change and shift. All right, take care. Lots of love.